Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, hello. All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. I want you to vote like nobody else. And that's what we're going to get after today. I really want to help you understand your role from a clinical counseling model. All right. Now, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you what issues should be the most important. I'm here to help you do your responsibility better. That's it. Your responsibility to you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, like everybody around you, to do your responsibility better. Look, we are knee deep in the 2024 election cycle. I hope that this clinical counseling look will help you understand what's most important. Again, not telling you who, not telling you the issue that you should take up or not. I don't have the same passions and interests that you have, and you probably don't have the same ones as me. And so I want to start with, that's my hope, to just help you see a path forward that's good, healthy, and most importantly, because I'm a clinical counselor, keeps your relationships, your loved ones close to you and intact. So let's go back for a second. 2016. I went back and I read a whole bunch of stuff from the media and articles and all this kind of junk. I also lived with my eyes wide open through that election cycle. I listened to all the disgust and the hate between, one politician and another, and the division that was being sown between politicians and parties at a level that I hadn't yet seen. It's mostly because my awareness was increasing, not because the division wasn't already there. But the dominant message, as I saw it, from all the things that I've gone back and looked at, as well as my personal experience being taken into account, was let's unify the citizens, the people, but divide the politicians. That was kind of the message. It was more of a, hey, let's unify and defeat the opposition politician. The 2020 election, just 4 years later, comes, and the message was very clear. Go back and look at the media sources. Go back and, think about your experience living through it if you're old enough to have your eyes wide open during it. And it was divide the politicians and divide the citizens, because it was going to be a close race and everybody could tell. And so they really wanted the Republican Party to hate the Democrat Party politically. And they really wanted the citizens who backed the Republican Party to hate the Democrat Party politically, and vice versa. They knew it was a two-person race, pretty clear after the Republicans went on this, this big thing where there was more politicians than ever. But I'm not a political podcast. I'm going over this to give you a lens at what you ought to stay wide, your eyes, keep your wide eyes, oh, my bad, keep how you can keep your eyes wide open and healthy moving forward. Of course, we could get into all the issues too. We could get into economy, abortion, crime and justice. We could get into education, foreign affairs, energy and environmental issues. We could get into the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. We could get into the job market. We could get into immigration and border policies. But there's a different way, folks. I'm here to talk to you about what we, as a clinical professional, I would say is the more appropriate, different way, but the more appropriate way of navigating. Because if we get into all of the issues individually and we divide up by issue, then unfortunately, I'm going to despise everybody. Why? Who in the world believes everything that I believe on every issue that I believe? Not enough. So I'm sorry, you disagree with me on crime and justice. So I don't have time and space for you anymore. Like, what? Do I want you to know where you stand on all of the issues? I know where I stand on all of the issues that I've presented to you this morning, as well as, or this afternoon, depending on when you're listening, of course, as well as more. Like there's other issues that I didn't label that I know where I stand. And there are probably some issues that I'm a little, like, I mean, I could be swayed in this direction or this direction, depending on the circumstances, where we are as a culture, right? Like when it comes to foreign affairs and war and stuff like that. Right now, I have a pretty particular vantage point. I did spend time in the military. And in time of war, there's a certain approach that I lean toward. Doesn't mean I'm a violent guy. I'm not a violent guy. Matter of fact, I'm pretty peaceful. I think war is a last ditch effort at preserving something. The question is, what are we preserving? That being said, you should know where you stand on all these issues. But for clinical counselors like myself, this is secondary. And I'm going to show you why. It must be secondary. The issues must be secondary. The tactics, the political tactics must be secondary, not primary. Not primary, folks. They cannot be primary. Let me explain. I remember this day. This was an interesting day for me as a clinical counselor. I had been in the profession for a while. I had learned a lot of things, made a fair, I mean, we all make mistakes. So I had made a fair number of mistakes, none that harmed people, but I also sometimes made mistakes by maybe not helping as much as I needed to. The idea of beneficence when we look at ethics. Maybe I was trying to be helpful and I was doing the best that I knew how, but it wasn't enough. I had plenty of situations like that. But I'm sitting there on this beach with a family, a parent and a child. And I'm listening as they argue about one issue and then they switch and they argue about another issue. And they just cannot find something that they're seeing eye to eye on. Now, these weren't political issues. These were relational issues, social issues, cultural issues, issues on what they believed. But one after another, they disagreed. And I watched as it was tearing them apart. And then came the reframe. This is one of those, as a therapist, it's important to know when I make mistakes because I learn from them. It's also important to know when I get something right because I learn to repeat it appropriately. And this is one of those that I got right. I reframed it and I said, are these issues more important than your child? Are these issues more important than your parent? And that reframe is what I'm telling you today. The issues will never be more important than the people. Ever. The tactics of politicians will never be more important than the people. So when we're out there spewing all of this hate and division, you have people putting people second to the issues. Now, I'm not saying the issues aren't important. I'm not diminishing the value of the issues. But if you put issues, if you put tactics before the people, you sow division and hate, and you will tear things apart. That's just how it works, psychologically, sociologically, culturally. And we have to do better than that. So as you approach this election cycle of 2024, from a clinical counseling, psychological, sociological, cultural lens, it's my hope and my prayer that you will put people first. That doesn't mean you don't talk about every single issue. Matter of fact, not talking about it, I think, is a failure. But prioritizing it over the person in front of you. I'm sorry, I can't love you because of your views on abortion, let's say. That's a mistake. That's a failure. And I don't want you to fail. I want you to succeed wildly. If you and I disagree on 90% of the issues, I can still love you for who you are and appreciate you for the perspective you bring to the table. That is completely possible. I watched it happen that day on the beach as a parent and a child connected in a way that they hadn't in a very, very long time. They prioritized the love they had for each other and making sure that that love got in and that the issues were secondary. Not unimportant. The child should know where the parent stands, and the parent should know where the child stands on every issue. But it's not the primary objective. Love, care, unite. That's the primary issue. Be together. We're better if we have the knowledge and the experience and the challenges of difference in most situations. And we're definitely better when we're loved and when we're loving. Definitely better that way. Now, I appreciate you being here. This was a really important topic to me because it's current. And at Healthy Perspectives, we really believe that we have to be willing to address current psychological, sociological, and cultural issues from a clinical lens. And if you don't share this with people and help people see that there's a better way than the way that a lot of people are choosing to handle things right now, I think that's a miss. And it's not because I want 10 million followers, although I'm not going to lie. My bank account would probably appreciate that. But what I would appreciate more than even that is helping people. That's why I do what I do. As a professional, as a run-of-the-mill podcaster. So please share this. Share this with anybody and everybody who is putting the issues first. Share this with anybody and everybody who is putting the relationships first. Why? Because I want to empower the people who are doing the relationally appropriate methods to have voice for that, to approach people and not avoid the issues, but love the people more, better, more courageously, more boldly, but the same love. And I want the people who are putting the issues first to understand there is a different way. There is a different option, a healthier option. But that won't happen if you don't share it. So thank you so much for joining us. Now go do your job. Be a better person. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.